Timo, are you ironing yesterday's shirt? Timo didn't even look guilty. He stood in front of the ironing board in a singlet and boxers, pressing a blue shirt with serious concentration. Yes, wait the same shirt you wore to work yesterday? Uh-huh. The one you wore from morning till night? Timo lifted the iron and said, Kendi, relax. The iron is very hot. She stared at him. So? Kendi, I've told you now. Heat kills germs. Kendi nodded slowly. Wonderful. Wonderful. Lie down, let me iron you too. Hmm? How about that? Timo hissed and continued. That was her husband. Timo was handsome, wealthy, and always smelled expensive outside. He ran a successful logistics company in Nairobi, drove a clean SUV, and owned an entire shelf of costly perfumes. Unfortunately, soap was not enjoying the same importance in his life. If he woke up late, he sprayed perfume. If he repeated yesterday's shirt, perfume. If Kendi complained, more perfume. Sometimes Timo left the room, but the perfume would remain behind. Then he picked up a pair of black boxers from the chair. Kendi narrowed her eyes. Timo, what? You wore that yesterday. He looked at the boxers. Did I? You want to wear it again? No. Kendi relaxed. Then he placed it on the ironing board and her mouth opened. Hey, what are you doing? I'm refreshing it with iron. Timo pressed it carefully and steam rose from the boxers. No germ can survive this heat. Trust me. Kendi looked towards heaven. Oh God, I know I have offended you, but surely not like this. Timo laughed. The thing is clean now. The germ may be dead, but the smell definitely has relatives. He laughed even harder. Kendi had been fighting this battle for years. Wet towels on the bed, socks left under the chairs, clothes sometimes received 2 or 3 working days before Timo agreed that they have suffered enough. The toilet was worse. One Saturday, Kendi entered the bathroom and came straight back out. Timo! He was downstairs watching football. What? Come upstairs right now. Why? Come and meet what you left behind. Timo came up, looked inside the toilet and said, Oh, Kendi folded her arms. Oh, is that all you have to say? What should I say now? No, introduce us, since apparently your poop lives here now. Timo laughed. What exactly is funny? Kendi said, Flush it. I was going to now. When? Next month? Kendi had tried everything. She had bought expensive soap, shower gels, new towels, even body scrub. Timo used the body scrub container to keep something else. Eventually, she became tired of explaining basic hygiene to a grown man. That morning, as Timo sprayed perfume over the freshly ironed, dirty shirt, Kendi quietly picked up her phone and started recording him. Timo, please, let me understand something. You did not shower. I showered yesterday now. And what of the boxers? I ironed them. Why? Timo sighed. Kendi, heat kills germs. I've told you this before. So wait, ironing dirty boxers makes them clean? They are not dirty. They are just used. What is the difference? Timo thought for a moment and said, Well, dirty is dirty. Kendi was tired at this point. She dropped the phone and later that afternoon, she watched the video again and laughed. Her sisters always accused her of exaggerating whenever she complained about Timo. Now she had evidence. She sent it to the family WhatsApp group. You people said I was lying. See your brother-in-law explaining science. Almost immediately, her sister started replying. Professor of boxer technology. Hot iron kills everything, including shame. Kendi was still laughing when her elder sister suddenly wrote, Kendi, Remove this video from the group. Somebody has already forwarded it outside. Kendi sat up immediately. Forwarded it to who? Nobody answered. Then she got a screenshot. The video was already on another WhatsApp status. A few minutes later, another person sent it back to Kendi from a completely different group. Her laughter disappeared immediately. The video was moving from place to place. By the next morning, she knew that the video had gone too far. It was no longer moving through family WhatsApp groups. It was on social media, online. Someone had even cropped the video and added laughing emojis and written, "The man who bathes with iron and perfume." Another person called him Nairobi's perfume husband. The video showed only part of Timo's face, but that one did not save him more because his voice was clear and so was their bedroom. And unfortunately, so was the long shelf of perfumes behind him. By 9 o'clock, one of his employees had recognized his voice. By 10, several people at the office had seen it. Nobody sent it to him directly, but they were posting jokes on their WhatsApp statuses. One read, "When soap is expensive, but perfume is your relative." Kendi did not laugh. This was no longer funny. She spent most of the morning calling her sisters and cousins and asking, who sent that video outside the family group? But everybody denied it. One cousin finally admitted that she had sent it to a friend because she thought it was funny and that it was the friend that had posted it. After that, nobody knew how it grew legs and started flying. Omo, Kendi felt sick. She had wanted proof that she was not exaggerating about her husband though. She had not wanted strangers to be discussing her husband's boxers. That wasn't the plan at all. Timo then came downstairs around 11. Normally he would have already gone to work. But then he walked past Kendi, opened the fridge, completely ignoring her. Kendi watched him carefully. Timo, he ignored her and took out a bottle of water. "I'm sorry. I did not think anybody would send it outside." Timo closed the fridge and said, "You recorded me." Kendi swallowed. "Yes." "And then you sent it to people." "No, just my sisters, just my family." He nodded. Okay." Kendi expected shouting. Timo was very good at shouting when he wanted to, but instead, he drank his water and went back upstairs. That worried her even more. He did not go to work that day or the next. At first, Kendi thought he was hiding until the jokes died down. She could understand that because even she herself didn't want to leave the house. But 3 days passed. Timo was still in bed. His business manager, Jemo, called several times and Timo ignored him. Clients called. He turned his phone face down. One afternoon, Jemo came to the house himself to see what was happening. "Timo, we have the warehouse meeting today. What are you doing?" Timo remained on the sofa and said, "Handle it." "Okay, I will do that, but then you still need to sign off on the new contract. Then send it to me." "I sent it yesterday, sir." Timo rubbed his face. "Okay, then just leave it there." Jemo looked at Kendi, but she had no answer. After he left, Kendi became angry. "Timo, you cannot just abandon your company because people are laughing at one stupid video." Timo looked at her. "I know. Then get up and go to work." "I will." "When?" "Tomorrow." Tomorrow came, but Timo did not move. As if that was not enough, Kendi began to notice things that had nothing to do with the embarrassing video. He stopped watching football. He stopped eating properly. Sometimes she would cook and leave his food on the table and find it untouched hours later. He stopped returning calls from his friends. Even when the noise about the video died down and, another internet joke replaced it, Timo did not improve. His hygiene, it became worse. It went from like 30 to 95. It was that bad. Before, Timo could avoid bathing and still spend 20 minutes spraying perfume. But now, he didn't even do any of that. One evening, Kendi entered the bedroom and noticed the perfume shelf. Everything was exactly where it had been for days, and that frightened her. She turned towards Timo. He was lying on the bed in the same t-shirt he had worn the previous day and the day before. Timo, when last did you bath? He closed his eyes. Timo, I heard you. Then answer me. He sighed. I don't know, Kendi. Kendi stared at him. This was no longer the same irritating man who argued that ironing could clean underwear. This man was not even arguing. This one was getting out of hand though. She sat beside him and asked, Is this still about the video? Timo didn't answer immediately. Then he shook his head and said, I wish it was. Then what is happening? Timo stared at the wall, and for a long time he said nothing. Then he said, I don't know, Kendi. I wake up every morning already very tired, like I can't move. Kendi frowned. Tired from what? That is the problem. I do not know. He rubbed his face. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to talk to anybody. Even bathing feels like work. I don't know. I keep telling myself I will get up in 5 minutes. And sometimes 5 minutes becomes the whole day. As Kendi watched him say all of these things, she came to the realization that dirty clothes and not showering were no longer the biggest problem in the room. This was another level. For the next few days, she watched Timo differently. Before, when he stayed in the bedroom until noon, she saw it as lazy. Now, she started noticing the smaller things. He hardly slept at night. Sometimes she woke up at 2 and found him sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. Other times he would sleep for 10 hours and still wake up completely exhausted. Even eating had become work. One evening, Kendi placed his favorite nyama in front of him, and Timo looked at it, picked one small piece, and then dropped it again. Kendi frowned. You are not eating. I'm not just hungry. Kendi touched his forehead, but Timo pushed her hand away. I am not sick. Timo, you refuse yamatoma. Let me investigate properly, please. Normally, that would have earned her an argument, but Timo only smiled weakly, and that one even frightened her the more. The following morning, she called Jemo, the business manager, again. This time, she started asking him more questions. Jemo then told her that Timo had started changing months before the viral video, and it started after his father died. Because immediately his father died, Timo threw himself into work. He came earlier than everybody and left after everybody. Then the company lost a major transport contract. They had bought new trucks and hired extra drivers, expecting the contract to continue. But then the deal went bad and the company survived though, but they lost a lot of money. And then Timo took it personally. I mean, we argued about it, but that was that. A bad deal was a bad deal. We were supposed to move on, right? But I started noticing that Timo became difficult to reach. He would sit in meetings and he would barely contribute. He started forgetting things and he started delaying decisions. Some days he looked completely fine, but other days he would shut his office door and stay there for hours. Candy ended the call, feeling very guilty. I mean, not because she should have magically known what was happening. I mean, Timo had hidden most of it. But when she looked back, the signs had been there. He stopped playing music in the morning. He no longer teased her when she took too long dressing. Even his Saturday football disappeared, you know. At first, Candy had enjoyed the peace. Now she realized that the house had become too quiet. So after some deep thinking, she was convinced that Timo needed professional help. So her new task now was to get him to go see a therapist. And to the glory of God, he accepted. But then he almost cancelled before they left on the D-Day. I don't think I need this. Timo, please, don't do this. You haven't been to work in almost 2 weeks. I can go tomorrow, okay? You have said tomorrow 15 times. Timo frowned. So you're counting. I married you. Somebody has to keep the records, no? He looked at her for a while. Then he finally picked up his car keys. When they got to the clinic, Kendi stayed for the first part of the session. The therapist, Dr. Nali, was calm and direct. She asked Timo about his sleep, his appetite, his work, his father, the business laws, all of those things. And Timo answered everything as if he was giving a report. Then Dr. Nali asked, what do you think cost the company to lose the contract? I expanded too quickly. Okay, but was that the only reason? No. What else happened? Tell me. The client changed suppliers, their management changed, costs went up. So, in other words, several things contributed. Timo nodded. Dr. Tali waited and said, but when you talk about it, you speak as if you alone destroyed the company. Well, the decision was mine. But then the company still exists, right? Yes. And your staff are still working. Yes. But in your mind, you failed everybody. Timo couldn't answer. Dr. Nali was following him little by little. She asked about his father, and Timo immediately became stiff. He died. I know. Just tell me about the weeks before he died. Timo rubbed his palms together and said, there is nothing much to tell. Kendi knew that tone. It was the tone he used when there was definitely something. Dr. Nali must have noticed as well. So she asked gently, were you close? Timo gave a small shrug. Sometimes. Dr. Nali waited for a while and asked, when did you start feeling that everything was your fault? And he looked down, took several seconds before he answered, before my father died. Kendi sat up straighter, listening attentively by now. Timo swallowed. We had a fight. What kind of fight? Dr. Nali asked. Timo stared at his hands. My father wanted money. Kendi frowned. This information was new, but Timo continued. His father had wanted to invest in another business, and Timo had helped him financially several times before, and most of the businesses had failed. That particular evening, Timo finally refused. His father accused him of becoming proud because he had seen some cash. Timo accused him of treating him like an endless bank account. The arguments became ugly. Then his father said, one day you will regret treating your own father like a burden. At this point in the story, Timo became quiet. He didn't say anything again. And Kendi could already see that he didn't want to continue. But Dr. Dali asked, and what did you say? He breathed out slowly and continued. I simply told him to stop behaving like that. Then he looked away and said, and my father, he died a few days later. Oh, wow. Nobody spoke for a moment. Then Timo continued. So every time something goes wrong now, I just think maybe this is what he meant. Chai. Candy reached for his hand and held him for a while because she never knew that her husband was going through all of this. Dr. Nali did not say much after that. She helped Timo separate what had happened from what he had been telling himself about it. His father died, the company lost money. I mean, those things are painful. But Timo had joined everything together until every bad thing felt like punishment. He felt the need to blame himself for everything that had happened. Well, after the session ended, Kendi understood one thing clearly. This was not something Timo could fix by simply being strong. So on the drive home, none of them said anything. But later that evening, Kendi found him sitting on the balcony and went to sit beside him. You said you still hear that argument in your head? Timo nodded. There is more. The morning my father died, he called me. What? Yes, he called me, but I didn't answer. I guess I was still angry about the whole argument. I thought he wanted to continue the argument, so I didn't pick. And that was the last call I ever got from him. And the next call I got was from my sister telling me that he had collapsed. So you see, by the time I got to the hospital, he was gone. Wow. You have carried this alone all this time? I mean, I keep wondering why he called. Maybe he wanted to apologize. Maybe he needed something. Maybe he wanted to tell me how he was feeling. I don't know. And that was the worst part. I have replayed this so many times in my head. Sometimes I even imagine what I would have said if I answered. So instead of thinking about it, I decided to bury myself into work. Because immediately after the funeral, Timo went straight back to work. And now Kendi understood why. Work kept his mind busy. Then, after the company lost the contract, suddenly the place he had been trying, using to escape became another thing he felt he had failed at. He slept less, worked more, and then slowly he stopped caring about work as well. Kendi looked at him and said, "So the video did not start this?" Timo shook his head. "No, it just happened that I was already tired already." That finally made everything clear. Timo had always not been the cleanest guy. Nobody could blame grief for 8 years of unflushed toilets and recycled boxers. But this newer version of him was different. Kendi took his hand and said, "We will get help properly, okay? I'm with you." Timo nodded. Then he looked towards the bathroom and said, I should probably start with a bath." Kendi looked at him. "Yes, a proper bath." And from there, Timo started recovering little by little. He continued his therapy, then he went back to work gradually. He stopped pretending that keeping quiet was the same thing as being strong. The company has survived without him, and that humbled him as well. Jemo remained in charge of some daily operations, while Timo focused on settling back in instead of immediately carrying everything on his head again. At home, Kendi also had some things to repair. She apologized properly again for recording Timo and sending the video out. Timo accepted the apology, although he was honest that the embarrassment would take time to forget. Also, the family also made it clear that nobody should be sharing private videos from their group again because the internet never forgets. After a few months, Timo started to feel more like himself again. I mean, not exactly the old Timo, because some things had changed for the better. He started speaking about his father more, instead of burying the subject. He rested more without feeling guilty. He asked for help when work was too much, and thankfully, his hygiene improved as well. One Saturday morning, Kendi entered the bedroom and found him changing into fresh clothes after a shower. She looked at the laundry basket, and his dirty boxers were inside. Kendi nearly became emotional. "Timo, what? You put them in the basket yourself?" He frowned. "Must there be a ceremony for it?" "Ha! Timo, for 8 years I have suffered. Allow me to enjoy my testimony." Timo laughed. Then he reached for one of his expensive perfumes and sprayed it. Kendi sniffed the air carefully. "Ah, what now?" Timo asked. Kendi smiled and said, "Oh, nothing. I am just happy that the perfume has finally met a clean body." Timo shook his head and walked away laughing. At the end of the day, Timo learned his own lessons. He learned that pain was not an excuse to neglect himself or the people around him, and suffering quietly until he disappeared inside himself was not strength either. Sometimes getting better started with something as simple as admitting that I am not okay. And that alone is a huge step to becoming better. The end. And so, my paddies, we've come to the end of today's story. This one is deeper than it looks. And I know that some of us can relate in the sense of pretending to be okay when we are truly not. So, for anybody going through one or two, I want you to know that you are not alone. I hope you learned a thing or two from this story, and I hope that things turn around for all of us for the better. Don't forget to like this story and to, voice out anything you want to talk about. Just drop it in the comment section. Your experience, someone else's experience, whatever that relates to this story. Feel free to talk about it in the comment section below, and I will always be available to respond to you. I love you all, and until I bring another story your way, remember, don't let anybody dim your shine. You are a star, so shine brightest. Okay? Ngwanu. Bye.